Hello, and welcome to my personal development plan, Staying Current with Technology in Business and IT Education by Christy Harris. And this aligns with IST standards for educators 2.1 learner and 2.2 leader. My agenda is to discuss the IST standards 2.1 learner and leader, personal goals 1, personal goals 2, personal goals 3, and personal goals 4, 5, and 6 in my closing. The IST standard 2.1 learner involves educators improving their profession by learning from others in and out of their field, and by researching promising, effective, and relevant uses of technology. The primary emphasis is for educators to make goals for professional development, strive to achieve those professional goals, and consider their progress on a frequent basis with meaningful and applicable reflection. It's not a checklist for your local school that, hey, I did my professional development on campus, but it is actually to take thought and ways to set up a path and a plan that will allow them to not only make goals professionally, but achieve those goals and reflect meaningfully on how they did with reaching those goals and then applying those goals. The ISTE Standard 2.2 Leader. This is where educators actively seek opportunities for leadership to increase the level of teaching and learning, as well as to promote the empowerment and success of their students. The primary emphasis here is where the teacher is now the leader, creating a culture of creativity that can be shaped. And they should advocate for access and equity for their learners and make learning a lifetime habit. Personal development goals. Personal development goal number 1. The very first thing an educator should do with their personal development goal is to create a plan for ongoing professional development learning. And they should participate in 2 to 3 professional development trainings relating to technology each year. For instance, they could do a conference on the summer at North Carolina CTE program. They could also do an ISTE live or either in person or virtually professional development. And they can also do programs such as Google Certified Educator and Microsoft Educator Center as a means of professional development. They could also have Canvas for Business, Excel data analytics, artificial intelligence in the workplace, and coding platforms like Python, SQL are some of the other reasons why keeping up with these technologies is important, because they are relevant career and readiness programs that help the students not only to learn it, but also to become aware of what it takes to be involved in that specific career. And they are learning how to lead effectively and not just lead efficiently. Continuous professional learning. Educators must continually engage in professional development to stay current with emerging technologies. Research supports that there's a direct correlation between regular professional development and improved technology integration, as well as enhanced student outcomes. So there's a method behind the educator being the learner and the leader in the classroom with continuous professional engagement. There's a best practice also about attending targeted areas with every semester within the area that they are specializing. So it's not just randomly, but really honing in on the area where they want to be effective in their professional development. Personal development goal number 2, and this is integrating emerging technologies in instruction. And the plan suggests that during each semester, the learner and the leader should test out new educational technology tools. And some that are listed here are Nearpod, Padlet, ClassHook, and Booklet. Canvas and Google Workspace are examples of a learning management integrated applications that may be used for flipped or blended learning. Another way to integrate emerging technologies into the instruction as a professional development goal could include using Google Slides to create a simulation of a virtual internship, complete with integrated Word documents, spreadsheets, and interactive forms. An example, another way to integrate emerging technologies into the instruction as a professional development goal could include using Google Slides to create a simulation of a virtual internship that completes the integrated Word documents, spreadsheets, and interactive forms so that students, learners can see how they are utilized in the workspace, not just in the classroom. But how do I use this in a job? How do I take the application and apply it into a career? That's important for the learners to connect the skills to career. Integration of technology for student-centered learning. Effective use of tech tools like Google Workspace, Jamboard, and Padlet allow students to collaborate and reflect and take ownership of their learning. And not only take ownership of their learning, but technology that's rich in environments fosters creativity and critical thinking as well. And best practice incorporates interactive tools into daily lessons to boost that engagement and achievement with students. It's important for the learner and the leader to demonstrate to students where they would see this in professional fields and how they start developing it in the classroom, within the projects, and within the daily lessons. This is building that professional understanding with them and also helping them to understand the objectives of the lesson better as well. Personal development goal number 3, collaborating and networking. Connect with other professionals in your field through PLN, and this is your professional learning networks. It's important that the learner, which is the educator, and the leader, which is the educator, not become one-dimensional and only stay so focused on getting that lesson plan together so they can teach, but also making sure they have balance and they're remaining relevant by collaborating with others in their field and even outside of their field. And some examples of how they can collaborate and network are CTE Instructors Facebook page, Community of the ISTE Professionals, and co.org and CS. For all of the platforms, there are other ways that an educator could collaborate and network professionally. Why? Why is it necessary for collaboration and networking as the learner and the leader? It's necessary because in the framework of professional development goals that relate to the ISTE 2.1 and 2.2 standards, collaboration and networking allow the educator the opportunity to discuss tactics, ideas for lessons, technological integrations, as well as stay up on the latest developments in careers within technology. And that's again coming out of that one-dimensional view that I have to be present for my students and get my lesson plan, but also think of a more broader scale globalization. How do I position myself to gain knowledge through the experience of others in my field so that I am effective and relevant in the classroom setting with my learners? So collaboration is key. Also in networking and collaborating in your professional learning networks, collaboration through your PLNs enhances instructional practices and awareness of global ed tech trends. Can't say that enough. And teachers in these active PLNs are more confident and innovative in their classroom technology use. So it's a benefit to the learner that the educator is exposing themselves to networks and collaboration with other educators. Best practice suggests that participating in online educator communities such as ISTE, Twitter chats, Google educator forums is a best practice to enhance the skill sets of the educator from the ISTE 2.1 and 2.2 standards. Personal goal development number 4, student agency through technology. Okay. Here, the purpose of this, the fourth goal, is to allow the student to learn how to facilitate in group settings and collaboration, because many of the jobs that the students will have professionally, they will work in a team. How do I collaborate? How do I effectively collaborate so that we move the mission of the project forward and accomplish what was intended? They get to learn what project management looks like. And it assists the students in taking ownership, but also building those communication skills, those team skills, and working with others who have different mindsets, different backgrounds, different perceptions, and utilizing software's tools to help them keep track of the project, such as Google Slides, Jamboard, and Trello. Inspiring student-led technology projects is helpful by assigning a tech support and responsibilities and roles with different students to encourage them to know how to lead in the field of technology, and then also have the students act as a tutor, assigning someone to help those who are struggling with a concept and the steps to complete that, builds that culture, builds that professional development with the students leading it and facilitating it. And they could use things such as Soundtrap and Anchor to host a podcast on a business technology, or even act as the student IT help desk. Professional development goal number 5 is regularly reflect and revise your plan. No plan is set in stone. It is important that we reflect. As we ask students to reflect in the lessons on what they learned and how did it impact them and what was the experience of it, as an educator from the ISD standards of 2.1 and 2.2, we ourselves have to do the same thing to make sure we are effectively delivering information and the lesson to the students, and also being relevant and being in tune with the needs of the students, reflecting. Use of professional tools like Notion or Google Docs to keep a tech journal. That type of technology serves as a tool to keep your reflections alive. We don't want things to be written and then they're forgotten, because then they're not alive to be executed. But that journal is to keep the reflections alive and provide a map and the milestones of the goals that the educator has achieved. Utilizing the IST educator standards carries out self-evaluations and reflections every quarter, not just at the end of the year, but every quarter. A simple gesture. Why is it important to reflect? Um, it is so that the teacher can see what's working, what they need to tweak, where they need to make improvements, and not only just to check all those things, but to celebrate every instance of success that they're having in reaching their goals, reflecting in their goals, and being meaningful in the process. Goal six. Goal six is about resources for acquiring more credentials. Just like students are in an evolving learning cycle, educators are as well. And we need to research resources to acquire credentials that are relevant to the areas in which we teach. Some credentials are Google accredited teacher, which is called GACE, levels 1 and 2, proficient with Microsoft Office, Adobe accredited photographer, and even earning the ISTE credentials as an instructor. Must-have skills are Excel, Google and GitHub, chatbots, grammar checkers, and electronic assistants. As we are evolving into AI and we're evolving into machine learning, these skills are relevant for how we not only house information, but we disseminate that information and how we make connection to the emerging technologies around us as well as educators. Lifelong learning and modeling innovation, okay? Educators who model continuous technology learning encourage students to do the same. And that's according to the ISTE Education 2017. It also emphasizes modeling ethical, informed, innovative tech use as a part of educator leadership. Best practice suggests pursuing certifications and staying current with AI tools. And those certifications, again, are in Google Educator, Microsoft, and Adobe. Examples of reflection and self-evaluation. Reflective teaching improves instructional decisions and encourages continual growth. It's a growth process. Using digital journals or regular self-assessments help track effectiveness. Best practice suggests using tools like Google Docs, Notion, and video reflections to assess integration success. It's important to go back and evaluate how effective you were with delivering a lesson, tracking the student's progress, tracking their formative and summative assessments to see where you could go back and reintroduce some content and foundation to ensure you increase the growth in areas where they did not test as well. These are all reflective and self-evaluation practices that help with the facilitation of the ISTE 2.1 and 2.2. In my closing, being technologically savvy is a positive, forward-thinking mindset and a preparation to address the changing needs of learners, not just a checklist for professional development requirements at work. My goal in developing this strategy is to enhance my skills as an educator and teacher and a leader in the fields of business and information technology, ensuring I remain relevant and practical in the classroom with my students. Here are my references. And this is the end of my personal development plan with the ISTE standards 2.1 learner and 2.2 leader. Thank you.